They kept shooting themselves in the foot. Seattle could not get things done. They had an opportunity after Josh Allen throws his first interception of the 2024 season. We're on the 8th game of the year. He throws a pick. Seattle takes the 7-yard line. Of course they're going to score, right? No, you're wrong. Not only are they not going to score, but they're going to stumble over their own linemen and fall down because they can't get a 4th and goal. And then on top of that, they had a botched snap that flew over the head of Geno Smith. And I may have switched those and the timing and what happened first. Regardless, they happened. Geno is unable to get a ball, so it goes from a 2nd and goal really close to a massive 3rd and goal at like the 20-yard line, and then they had a false start. They did all that you could to not win this football game. You just could not have wrote a more worse picture of execution when it came to trying to do what you're trying to do on offense or defense. Run game, once again, non-existent. Why is it non-existent? Well, they can't win the trenches. They can't win the war. I mean, Kenneth Walker is a phenomenal football player, but if you don't open up lanes for your player to run, it don't matter how good you are. The loss of DK Metcalf loomed large. But you got to give credit where credit is due. Despite all the miscues, which I mean, there was a lot on the Bills side. They were giving this game to Seattle, okay? They had so many penalties. They had interception. They had a fumble that was kicked. I mean, it potentially rulebook-wise, the ball should have just been a spot foul. And it should have been a 4th down. And then instead, the Bills get the first down because Josh Allen fumbled it, went to his receiver that was about 6 yards in front of him. I don't think it was an intentional kick, but it's just the rule. Regardless, they did not do enough. Seattle Seahawks did not do enough. They lost the football game. They are clearly, based off this game, not the better team. They had no DK Metcalf, which looms large. I guess if you're DK Metcalf, this is what you say in contract negotiations. Hey, you saw how you guys play without me. I'm the offense. And that could be the case. But they struggled on O-line protection. They struggled on getting the running game going. Offense didn't start out well at all. They had 2 back-to-back 3-and-outs. The first drive of the game, 3 straight passing plays, went for nothing, blocked the line of scrimmage. Then the second, they had a measly run that didn't go anywhere. It was bad football. Seahawks are not playing football to the level of play that they need to. I told my wife that it probably would have been better for me to spend 3 hours doing something else. It was just not a good game. It was bad all around. And it's not that they couldn't have won this game, but they didn't do anything that makes you think that could have even been the case based on how they responded. Then they had a muffed punt. Everything that could have went wrong. Geno had a bad interception. And I think the frustrating part about this game, just the most frustrating to me, and I don't like saying this, but I'm just gonna say, seeing the response of the team, the players, in them losing is frustrating. You got to keep your cool. You got to stay in it. You got to stay fixed. You can't just continue when you're down. It's not fun, right? It's not great. But you got to stay composed because you still got time left on the clock to make a play, to do something, to go your way. Yes, the opposing team might be well ahead, but you got to stay composed. There was moments today where there was not composure from the Seahawks. Specifically, Derek Hall made a massive mistake, roughing the passer. Just bad. Unacceptable play. Mike McDonald, I think, will call it out in the meetings, but you can't have that in that situation. I'm pretty sure at that point in the game, they got an incompletion or they got a down, they got a stop, and then you just pin yourselves against the wall. You're getting the ball back, now you're not. Drive continues. Points get on the board. Jarran Reed and Hall went at it. And Jarran Reed, I mean, he's trying to keep guys accountable. Hey, you are hurting the team by this level of play. Then secondly, another moment during the game that really hurt the team. Geno Smith, he threw a ball at another opposing team player. They were well out of the game at this point, but you got to keep your cool. All I could think about was last year when the Chargers and the Seahawks played and Pete just said, hey, keep it cool. We're going to be all right. Keep your composure. And that's what needs to be done right now. Is keep your composure. Even though you might be down and out, you're down by maybe 2 possessions, make a play. Make 1, 2, 3, and next thing you know, you might be back in this thing. But yeah, they left too much on the board. A great display though from the Bills in coming back. I mean, it felt like every single play there was some piece of laundry on the field, with this false start, holding, pass interference. It was just bad. Not a great game of football by either team, but somehow the Bills are winning 31-10 in this one. And that's because despite the miscues, despite the faults, they were able to achieve great things. Seattle's got to respond better next week when they play, because right now I don't really know what I can say of this team currently. They're 4-4, a lot of football left to be played. There's not a lot to celebrate from this game, but there is a lot to learn from it, right? If you take the time to look at the film, the tape. One thing that I did like, Ernest Jones, I think was an upgrade. I think he played some pretty phenomenal ball getting to lanes, but it's got to take more than one guy. It's got to take more than one guy for this team to get to a spot and get to a level where they are going to be of competitiveness that is playoff potential. Because even if they make the playoffs as a first-round exit team, they're not at the level spot where they maybe want to be, but you got to fall in love with the process, okay? The Seahawks last year moved on from Pete Carroll. They're now in a new regime. So there is a process that is going to occur. They just moved on from Baker, gave up a 4th-round pick, grabbed Ernest Jones. That means they're serious about how do we make this team better. The D-line has a lot of money put into it, that there needs to be better ability to stop the run. There needs to be better ability to getting hits on the quarterback and not making plays that hurt your team. Less flags are more important for next week's game. Less making decisions that hurt and injure your team. They had so many opportunities as the Seahawks to win this football game, to just go full on for force. You can see the experience and leadership of the Bills on the other side, where they were able to respond to things not going their way. They didn't let it get to them. They were more composed. And they used Keon Coleman exceptionally. He has been able to get open on Reek Woolen. They attacked him. I mean, you got to give a game ball to him. Keon was on fire. Josh Allen is a superstar quarterback, and he was able to do great things in the rainy weather. And Seattle plays in the rain, so they should be composed enough to handle it. But the elements were too tough for Seattle in their home stadium. They lose another home football game. The reign and dominance that the Seahawks have had at home is the thing of the past. This is a new era of Seahawks football. But right now at home, they're struggling to find their way. They haven't done enough in their past couple of showings at home to really show this home fan base, hey, we're here to compete. It's tough football to watch. They are only 4-4. That's the silver lining of all things. The NFC West is really wide open. No team really wants it. Everyone's nearly going to finish 4-4 if the Niners take care of business on Sunday night. It wasn't the greatest game. It was frustrating to watch. I think this is one of those games Geno Smith may not want to necessarily remember, but also at the same time, I think every player and every one of us, we can all learn a lesson from life here. We got to learn from the losses. We got to learn from the moments where things didn't go our way. And that's what I hope Geno can do, is he learns from some decisions that he made today. But I don't really put it all on Geno. The game of football falls on the QB, right? Wins and losses, it's the quarterback's fault. But in reality, it's a team effort. So were receivers open? Were tight ends open? Was the blocking being well done? It's more than just one player. It is important that each player does their individual job, but that's the key, right? If the QB does his job really well, but the receivers aren't getting open, it don't really matter how good of a ball you throw, you ain't open. So tough game to watch. Not one you want to remember, but one that is a reality check. It's a reality check of where are the Seahawks really? Seahawks are 4-4, and they have potential to be a playoff team. But also, can you really bank on them winning next week? I don't know. That's hard to make on it. In this game, I thought it was going to be tough. I didn't think they were going to win this game coming into it. But the fact that it was this tough when the Bills were not doing anything to help themselves win, but they still won by 3 possessions in your stadium. That's got to get something lit under you to really find a way. How do we get better? Not only for the fans watching you, but also for us as a team. How do we get more unified as a team to perform in a way that is going to be true Seahawks football? Like it's been tough to watch year in and year out, week in and week out, teams just run over the Seahawks again and again. I mean, the amount of 100-yard rushers that come into CenturyLink, Lumen Field, is high. It just continues to happen. I mean, they cannot stop the run. They can't stop the pass. It's kind of the same old story year in and year out. Lot of lanes open, a lot of broken coverages. And that's why they're sitting at 4-4. That's the script of the year so far, is a lot of broken assignments, people not in the right designed areas that they should be. The film don't lie. The film will show a lot, I think, for Mike Macdonald. He'll have to be looking at it, and some of it is also, I think, what I've really liked about Macdonald is he takes accountability, takes responsibility for each decision, and that's important. You want that from a head coach because they got to get better. Because right now, this ain't the team that is going to go deep in the playoffs. This team, I think, has playoff potential. But if the potential is not lived up to, it is what it is. Looks like we'll be what draft pick will the Seahawks be having? I'm just kidding. But it's fun watching football, regardless if they're not doing so great. It's fun. It's fun seeing competition out there, and I hope that they learn from it, because that's the most important part. Learn from the losses.